Hi, I'm Mandi Pryor, and welcome to Spotlight on Pittsburgh. Spotlight on Pittsburgh is a program about Pittsburgh's most fascinating people and what they do to make our city an amazing place to live and work. When we come back, I'll introduce you to Katie Green, Editorial Director of Niche Publications for the Observer-Reporter. Later in the show, we'll bring on Joe Verduci, Vice President of Relationship Banking at Brentwood Bank.
Our family was drifting apart until we found a connection.
You have the power to change your child's life. The Boys Town National Hotline can help.
Hi, Katie. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So what can you tell me about your position and what the Observer Reporter and these specialty publications have to do with the town?
So the Observer Reporter is the daily newspaper in Washington and Greene counties and the Mon Valley. Had a little bit of the South Hills with the Almanac, the weekly community newspaper. My publications are, there's so many. We have 4 glossy lifestyle magazines. There's Living in Washington County, Greene County Magazine, Mon Valley Magazine, and South Hills Living. And those, of course,
Did they name the Greene County Magazine after you?
They did not. There's an E on the end of that one. No E on the end of my name. But we have those, and then we have South Point Today, which is a quarterly publication. I also handle all of the company's event publications, so there's a little pocket guide for the Quirks and Kegs Festival, the Food Truck Festival. We are in the 2nd year of a partnership with the Meadows Racetrack and Casino, doing a kind of one-off glossy magazine for them. And then there are a whole bunch of others, and I don't know how many there are.
And so typical audience, obviously it might change a little bit, but is there something specific or somebody it's geared toward?
I wouldn't say somebody that it's geared toward, obviously geographically, but really what the magazines serve to do is highlight why these communities are so special. The people, the places, the things. It's more of the fun stuff. We let the newspaper handle the hard news and the controversies.
Well, I think there's something, special in something that you read that's a little more lighthearted and getting into the communities and finding out more about people. So how long have you been helping with this special publication side?
So my role is actually new for the company, and I've been in it for almost 2 years now. And prior to that, I was the editor at the Almanac, the South Hills community newspaper.
And I know that people might have questions about what does an editor do on a typical basis? Like what is your primary focus when you're in there doing your position and putting these magazines out?
So there's no typical day, because it depends on what we're working on and where we are in the process. I basically oversee everything from start to finish. That's brainstorming to getting it off to the printer and making sure it looks perfect. I may jump in and write articles myself. I've been known to go and take photos myself, depending on what is going on. Brainstorming with the staff, assisting our photographers on photo shoots, making sure that the creative is what I want. So it's
no pressure at all.
No pressure. But it's fun because, like I said, there's no typical day. So it's not like you go into work every day and sit at a desk and do the same thing. I'm out in the community. I'm doing things like this. I'm meeting people. It's fun.
Great. And so, when it comes to these magazines, how can people go about getting them? Are they something you can get at a newsstand, or what's their?
So they are all inserted within that day's paper, again, based on where you live. And there may be extra copies at advertiser locations, but the best way to make sure you get these publications is to subscribe to the Observer Reporter.
And so
Shameless
they get
plug.
Yeah, and so they get a lot of viewership then. I mean, obviously the Observer Reporter goes out to I don't know how many households, but a lot of eyes on it, and obviously it's a special way if companies are looking to get their names out there.
Absolutely.
And so what would you tell me is something surprising that maybe we don't know about these magazines that maybe you've come across over the years?
Something surprising that people don't know.
Didn't mean to stump you.
I
so
know.
We can
I
always
know.
come back.
I mean, there's really a lot that goes into them, and I think people know that. But people are always so excited to be featured or to be a part of them. I don't think I'm answering your question. You're gonna have to come back.
You did. I think the features are kind of important, and sometimes when there's inserts in papers, it can be put to the side. But obviously, if there's special content, then it's something you want to open up and maybe make part of your coffee on a Sunday.
Exactly.
And so what is, what kind of is the newest of the magazines or the newer magazines that are out there?
So Mon Valley Magazine has only been around, we're going into our second year of publication for that. I think third year, sorry. The years are creeping up on me. But we started that one when we made more of a focus to get into the Mon Valley and cover the Mon Valley with news. And we thought since we're focusing a little more there, let's also add a magazine.
Good. And so, I'm sure you know that people are looking at newspapers as something, they don't know where the future is. So why do you think people should stay reading and looking at these magazines?
So here's what I say when anybody says, newspapers are going away. The internet's taking over. You're always going to need a trusted source to get your news. And I really emphasize trusted.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff on the internet that, just anyone can get on and type and put on social media and it goes viral. But it's not real. It's, to use a buzzword, fake news. So regardless, you're always going to need a trusted source. You're always going to need trained editors, trained reporters, trained fact checkers, trained photographers. So even if in 50 years we're not holding that printed product, we still need a way to get our news, legitimate news.
I agree. And I think especially for this area, we don't have the news stations that are necessarily here every day. So it's nice to have that local news, something in the backyards of our neighborhoods.
Right. And I mean, I'm 36. I grew up before the internet, so holding on to that printed product in the morning while I have my coffee is a lot more special than just kind of scanning the internet on my iPad and
DVRing past stories and commercials and
right. So I know, the kids filming us right now, they probably know nothing else, but there is something special about holding that paper.
Well, it used to be the only source of news for quite a long time.
Right.
So, I mean, that and like a passenger pigeon maybe would have something. We don't have Paul Revere on a horse riding through town, so
we've come a long way.
We can bring that back.
We could.
Be delivering newspapers for the Observer Reporter. And so, how can somebody get a subscription to the Observer Reporter? What's the easiest way to go out there and go about getting it to their house?
Observer-reporter.com. Somewhere on that site, I don't know if it's the top or the bottom, there's a place to subscribe. And you can subscribe to print. You always get an online subscription with that print subscription. But if you don't want to hold that paper every morning, you can just do online. So there's various tiers.
Well, that's good. And is there anything else that people can do with your online resources or within your newspaper? I guess businesses. I know that advertising. There's a million advertisers. So why would you suggest a business choose the Observer Reporter over something else that's out there?
Because we're local. We're local and we're trusted. We've been in the community for over 200 years. And, the people of Western Pennsylvania, Washington, Greene County, the Mon Valley, that's their newspaper.
And is there anything new coming up in the world of, it doesn't have to necessarily be with these publications, but an overview of events or anything that you guys have coming up within the Observer Reporter?
We have the Food Truck Festival coming up Memorial Day weekend. That's at the Meadows Casino. It's a family event. We kind of take over the track and the apron with, I think they're up to more than 50 food trucks right now.
I've been there. It is quite the food truck rally.
Yeah,
so
come hungry.
This isn't like
this
is like an event to do.
Yeah. Come hungry, bring the family. It's a lot of fun.
And then go up to the casino afterward.
If you don't have your family with you.
Yeah, without them,
right.
But and you always have bands as well for
live
that.
Music, vendors, stuff for the kids to do. So it's more than just come and eat.
And when does that usually take place?
Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, so it's
Kicks
very
off Friday and it goes Saturday and Sunday.
That's great. So hopefully pools are open, food truck rally, lots to do.
Yeah.
And is there anything else that I haven't touched base on that I haven't thought of?
I don't think so. You've pretty much covered it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll bring you back out here with Joe in a little bit. Some of you, they don't know that you are also part of the Chamber of Commerce, the Southwest Communities Chamber of Commerce, but I'll get into that later.
All right.
All right, to find out more about the Observer Reporter specialty magazines, publications, go to observer-reporter.com/publications. We'll be back after the break with Joe Verduci from Brentwood Bank.
Sometimes it's hard to see where you're going, but you have the power to change your problems. All it takes is courage. YourLifeYourVoice.org.
Hi, and welcome back. We have Joe Verduci from Brentwood Bank. Hi, Joe.
Hi.
How are you?
Very good.
Good. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Glad to.
I guess I'm going to start with just asking a little bit about what your position is with Brentwood Bank. And
Brentwood Bank, we have a group of relationship bankers that pretty much know everything about banking in whole. We're not segregated to having one certain product. The people that work in that department need to be able to help a client from their personal checking account to their home equity or mortgage to if they own a business, to be able to help with their banking there, as well as if you wanted to buy a multi-million-dollar building and sometimes even get a chance to finance a fire truck.
a fire truck.
For a nonprofit organization. So that's fun. The variety is probably the best
I've always
thing.
wanted a fire truck.
Well, we'll talk sometime.
All right, good. And so how long have you been in banking?
Actually banking 23 years, and a couple weeks ago I had my 20th year anniversary at Brentwood Bank.
That's quite a while. So you feel comfortable in the position you have then. What's kind of your favorite part about being in banking?
Being able to help everybody. Anybody that, they don't do it every day. I do banking every day. I help people buy mortgages, buy houses. Probably the best thing that I enjoy doing the most is helping somebody buy their first home. It's a total life change for them, and it's one of those fun things that they don't know what they're expecting, and I guide them through and help them through the whole process. And
it can definitely be a stressful event. So
yes,
you need somebody
yes.
who knows kind of what they're doing behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
And so what kind of makes Brentwood Bank stand out among all the banks out there?
Well, most banks will say customer service, and unfortunately I have to say customer service, but the good part about Brentwood Bank is no one leaves. Everybody is, like, for example, I'm there 20 years. Most of the people at the bank have been there for a long period of time. So then you get to know the customers, you get to know people, and then those people like to refer other people. A great example is I just did a mortgage for a couple that I have done a loan for their parents, and I've done a loan for their grandparents. Now, I'm not that old, but at the same time, it's a really fun experience to be able to help a whole family do something.
So it's very community driven then.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
so how many locations do you have?
We have 4 branches, one in Brentwood, of course. We have one in Bethel Park and South Park, and then our brand new office in South Fayette, Bridgeville area, near the Aldi's and Starbucks, of course.
So you can get Starbucks, Aldi's,
Yes.
go do your banking. It's all
Of course.
just.
It's all
Isn't there a
area.
Jimmy John's?
There's a Jimmy John's
All
as
right.
well. Yeah.
I think I've been by there before. So, and so, you know, having these people and having these community relationships, are you guys active within the community as well?
Very active. Of course, you know that because of
Well, I
the
know about
Chamber
the
of
Chamber of
Commerce.
Commerce, but you know.
I mean, one of the other things that we try to do is belong in the community. For example, myself, I was the president of the Bridgeville baseball program for 10 years. I'm heavily involved in the Rotary program. Involved in our church with the Basketball Upwards program. It's really fun to be able to know the people in your community, and to be honest with you, it helps them have a comfort level coming to talk about their finances, because sometimes it's a little bit of taboo talking about banking with people.
Yeah, I think it's something that definitely scares people when they're first approaching it, even when they've been, you know, dealing with their own finances for a
Right.
while. People avoid it. So how do you kind of get them to open up and
It's more of an education. And to be honest, it's one of those things where just getting comfortable with a person and not having a problem talking to them about it. And then I just educate them, give them their options, help them decide on what to do and what best fits them. That's probably one of the best things about Brentwood. Because we're a small institution, we have the ability of molding things into what they need instead of the larger institutions that pretty much just have cookie cutter products and services that they can do. So we're able to mold to what they need.
And so how long is Brentwood Bank? I don't know if
95 years.
95 years.
95 years.
So how long was the Brentwood Bank original in Brentwood? Which, by the way, this is embarrassing enough that I didn't even put two and two together with
about Brentwood. Yeah. 95 years of Brentwood. How it started was with an orange crate. A group of gentlemen had an orange crate. They went down to the rail yards or the places where the steel workers would come back into town. They'd give them their check, and then they would take their books, go back to the branch at night, do all the postings, get their cash or whatever they needed, meet them back at the station the next morning and give them back their money or their deposit slips or their bank books. So it's really neat to see how it has come from there.
So it seems like it was kind of taking after It's a Wonderful Life, sort of. That's what I'm getting in my head.
Sure.
And so now with the new digital age and banking moving more digital, how is Brentwood, staying up to date?
Probably the biggest part is nobody comes to the branches anymore, which is fine, but you have to be able to reach those clients to be able to help them or have that communication. So you do all the emails, electronic banking, businesses, we have the scanners and being able to give the businesses that capability electronically. Probably the biggest thing is education on how to use those services, and some people just giving in to making sure that it's secure and very helpful for them to be able to, everybody's at a fast pace and they don't have time. So it's probably the biggest part of teaching people on how to take advantage of that technology.
And say somebody's coming in for a mortgage or a loan or a home loan or a business loan, what can they do to prepare before they even walk through the bank doors to get themselves, ready to kind of go?
Probably being organized, having your financials with you, understanding what you have and what you don't, and maybe even when you set up that appointment, ask, what would you like me to bring? A lot of people will bring their tax returns and things like that, but also their information about everything, so then we can make a decision on everything instead of just one little segment, and give them education on everything that they have available to them.
And so I guess, is there anything that is commonly misconstrued when it comes to banking, that people just automatically, think this is the way banking is and it's changed and you want people to know?
Well, I get a joke a lot of times at the bank, what time do I go in? And what time do I go to the golf course? And what time do I go to, you have all those commercials. You try to be always available when you can for your customers. A lot of my customers have my cell phone. So if there's an issue over a weekend, if they feel comfortable, they can call me. I have no problem. I might not be able to do anything, but I could at least calm their nerves of what's going on.
So you're just available 24 hours a day,
Let's
right?
not go that far, although you should have that experience sometimes. So.
Some of your different branches, is it easy? What are kind of some of the perks also of banking with Brentwood Bank?
Probably the biggest perk is that we are a mutual holding company bank where we don't have stock. So therefore, we have the ability of making long-term decisions instead of that short-term decision to hurry up and make some fee income or do something so we can pay stockholders. It's probably the best benefit that we have, that we don't have that issue to have to deal with trying to make that quick turnaround on income. We can look at things and what makes sense for our customers as well as what makes sense for the bank.
And who's your typical ideal customer?
Anybody that's looking for a new change. One of the things we do always like to do is if people struggle with having the ability to make that change, and we help them all the time. So probably the typical customer is anybody looking for a change in their banking and advice on how they can improve themselves financially.
Good. And is there anything else that I haven't touched base on that you would like to share about the banks or what you're doing within the community, anything of that nature?
Well, we like to be involved in the community and help out any way we can. That's part of being a community bank. One of the things we like to do is be involved in any of the different programs that are going on. The Chamber is a perfect example where that's helping businesses in our community be able to meet each other and generate business, which only helps the community in itself.
Good. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Joe.
Thanks for having me.
We'll bring you back out with Katie, and we'll make sure to give everybody out there your cell phone number because he is available 24 hours a day.
I'd like to say one thing. This has been just an amazing experience with the kids at Peters Township, how they handle everything.
Oh, they're incredible. The crew here.
Absolutely.
I know. Special shout out. Thank you so much, Joe Verduci, for coming on. To get in touch with Joe, please contact the Bridgeville, South Fayette branch. You can also go online at brentwoodbank.com. We will be right back after this commercial with Katie and Joe for a fun little challenge. Thank you.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented, mostly by making changes in your diet, controlling your weight, and of course, by not smoking. Visit prevent50.org and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, and more.
Hi, and welcome back to Spotlight on Pittsburgh. So we have Katie here and we have Joe here, and I say it so loosely because I am director of the Southwest Communities Chamber of Commerce, and they are my vice president and my treasurer, and I see them all the time. So Katie Green, Joe Verduci, which I actually still mispronounce his last name. So, you know, being that I know them as well as I do, and we have a lot of fun at our chamber and kind of promoting stuff within the community, I thought, let's do a game. Let's do a fun challenge with Joe and Katie today. So we're going to do an emoji challenge. I'm not sure how well this is going to go, but
Just
at
for
least
the
it'll
record,
be,
I've yet to use an emoji.
You're just not very.
We are totally changing that.
Yeah.
But
you're
my
not an
dad
emotional
uses the
person.
Spock one, so. With,
Spock.
I didn't know there was a Spock emoji.
I've been really into using the weightlifting one recently. Do you have a favorite emoji?
I do a lot of the smiley face one with the tears because
The
they're
tears,
laughing.
the
yeah,
laughing, the
yeah.
sideways. I
Yeah.
use that one a lot too. Yeah, apparently things are
Better than saying LMAO. I'm
Yeah.
dating myself. I already told you all how old I was, and now I'm dating
LMAO.
myself because I'm taking you back to the.
There's some
America
of them I
Online
still don't
Instant
even know,
Messenger.
like they go too long with the. All right, so the first question is, and you're just going to reach in and just, this is just going to be what your emotions are. I'm reading inside your minds. The first one is going to be, what do you think of driving on 79? Go ahead, just take one out. All right, Katie, you're first. She loves it. She's a big fan.
Great.
And what about you, Joe?
well, I know Katie wanted this
He is not a fan. You got the.
one, the poop one.
That's why I had. To
I think
put
it's
you on
actually
there.
chocolate ice cream, but everybody says it's poop.
I think it's chocolate ice cream, soft serve. Anyway, is that too much? Did I go too
Yeah,
far?
all right.
All right. So the next one would be, what do you think of specialty publications? Observer Reporter
Look for the
Speaks.
poop one.
Don't
again.
get the poop one. Yay!
And Joe.
Oh, you love them.
Oh, I do.
He loves them. He loves them. All right. So
He's sucking up because he wants a
obviously-
cover.
Yeah,
Obviously, what is the? How do you feel about banking at Brentwood Bank? No pressure. Thank you.
Oh, I love it, of course.
He loves it. Katie, do you feel the same way? She
I love it too.
You do that one
I keep
alone.
getting
that
too.
one, yeah.
All right, I'm trying to. This could go either way. I'm going to have to put myself on the line here. What do you think of Spotlight on Pittsburgh?
Thank goodness.
No
I guess
pressure.
I love it.
Poop.
All right, and the last one.
It
is,
was good though.
It was-
I really don't feel
it was
that
soft
way.
serve. And the last one is, what do you think of the Southwest Communities Chamber of Commerce?
Oh,
Since
that-
you guys both participate, and I can see mixed
I can
emotions.
see smile there.
Good, good.
Oh, I love it too.
So now that we know all of our thoughts through the specialty publication, the specialty show. Sorry, there's a little action in the background right now. You know, I'm really happy that I had you guys on because I wasn't sure about some of the answers, but hopefully we'll continue again with this conversation soon. This is how we run our board meetings, by the way. A special thank you to Joe and Katie for visiting the show, as well as volunteering your time with the Southwest Communities Chamber of Commerce. Also, a special thanks to all of my board members for their time as well. To find out more about the Southwest Communities Chamber of Commerce, go to swccoc.org. Thank you once again for watching Spotlight on Pittsburgh. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram at spotlightonpittsburgh.com, and join us again when we shine the spotlight on 2 new guests. Thank you.